Well, ladies, it is Friday morning again, and we get to be together. We get to hang out and have our fun time together as friends. I love it. I've been encouraging some other moms to attend when they can. Some of them are just watching the recordings, but some might join us, so that'll be fun to meet some new moms. I see Lindsay is traveling. That's a common thing for Lindsay to be on the road, but that's her happy place, so that's good. That's a good thing. I wanted to share this book with you before I forget. It's one that's being discussed in the Grandma Book Club, I guess. And this one, along with any of the others that are appropriate for the month of September, you know, Mother's Influence and all of that. But this one's very good. I have heard about it. I've known about it for a long time. I have another book by Karen Andriola that is about Charlotte Mason and her methods and, you know, kind of how to do it. And I've had it forever. I used it. It helped me a lot as a young mom. Anyway, this one is just a treasure. There are so many beautiful things in this one. So if that interests you, it is supportive of all that you're doing right now. So I recommend it anyway. I just love it. Okay, so I have ideas about today, but I don't know where things are gonna go. So I have plenty of things to talk about if you ladies are just, you know, quiet. But I would love to hear from you. I would love to talk about this mother culture, this idea of mother culture, what we were talking about last week about curating our homes and our lives, about the essence of home, what that means, any of those things. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff that's going through my mind. I imagine yours too. So, what are we going to talk about today? Also, we're open to anybody sharing if you brought artwork that you want to share. There were some that weren't able to do that the other day and expressed perhaps some interest in doing that. So if you guys can remember things from one day to the next, then hooray for you, because I can't. Just waiting to see if there's anything that any of you are just dying to share, but you're all trying to be polite, waiting to see if somebody else is going to go first. Ah, wonderful. Cadence.
Hi, okay. Hopefully it stays quiet here. Here's my artwork that I liked. It's not just a mom, but I loved it and I had to buy it and frame it. So I can't remember what it's called or who the person is who made it, but I think it's a pretty familiar
Yeah,
one.
I think so too. Tell me why you like it. And it
Well,
might,
I like it because there's so much going on, but our home can be happy and we're working together to make it be a happy, beautiful place. We're growing these flowers and I just love it. And it also kind of looks like this. I think of it kind of like glasses that if we seen through our home, the world is actually this beautiful place. It doesn't have to be this. Anyway, that's why I liked it.
I love it. And you can
It
see so
is.
many personal things.
Caitlin Connolly.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking up. That looks what it looks like to me too. Um, in fact, it seems like that came up before, like last year maybe when we were talking about art and pieces that we like. I love that cadence and I love that it has so many, I'm still searching, but I'm not finding it. So many personal such personal application for you right now with your home as you are curating your home and you are bringing flowers and things into that too as you're growing and building your garden and all of that that has a lot of personal meaning to you. That's very sweet. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, I was going to say we have Ida times two, but no, now we just have that again. Hello. Could we get that much goodness? I don't know. I'm not sure if we could handle it. Oh, hello, hello. Okay, so we had a little bit of art sharing. That was lovely. Okay, what else, my friends? Lindsay and I shared art the other day on the Moi Hurrah that we had on Wednesday. And that was kind of fun because I don't know what you shared, Lindsay. I know you're driving, but I shared this as one of mine. And this is that piece of artwork that Lindsay had commissioned by a friend of ours for the quote that I'd shared with Lindsay years ago. And I got the quote from Montserrat Wadsworth, and she was on that call on that Zoom yesterday or Wednesday. So that was fun to share that with Montserrat too, and tell her thank you, because it had been at least 10 years ago that I found the quote and just loved it. And that's the one that talks about our homes being outposts of the kingdom of God, where we're trying to bring in the light and push out the darkness. And anyway, and that thought that Lindsay and I have added since to it about being able to look out your window and see other lights in the distance and know that you're not alone, which is what this brings for each one of us. And oh, I just love it. I love that reminder of how much this means to us to have each other, to be able to come together and share. So, my friends, it's sharing time.
I shared a picture that came in like a subscription box that we got one that month, but I don't even remember what the box was. It was like an art box, but it came that you sent a little postcard to the moms. Okay, hold on. In that box, and it was just this beautiful painting of a mom holding her baby, and the whole thing is just so serene because it's just like kind of bright all around her and real light colors, and it just gives you that, like, you remember that like peaceful, serene feeling of just holding a baby, and everything else just kind of melts away and you don't even really notice what's around you. It's just light and peace. And so I shared that, and then I also shared some of the ones from Simple Joy Art that we printed out for the girls at Pinehurst. And but I loved that one I have framed at home.
I love that. You'll have to point that out to me, because I don't know that I've seen that one. But that sounds lovely. And there is nothing like that. Just holding a baby and being able to just kind of slip away into that place. Okay, and Ida, you were going to share. Thanks, Lindsay.
I love that. So today we went on a little adventure out in nature.
You're a little quiet, Ida.
Oh, hang on. Is that better?
Oh, much better.
So we went on a little adventure out in nature this morning. I go to the restroom and I come back to this. Let's see if I can find my camera. Where is it? Up here. Can you guys see?
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'll show you this one. This is, you can see it even better on this.
Yeah. No, that was good. I was good enough with the last one. Thank you very much.
My crazy boys are like, "Oh, look, Mom, we found a tarantula." I'm like, "What?" Like, it's a really nice one. It protects you from bugs. It doesn't hurt you. I'm like, "Mm-hmm." Okay, let's release it into the wild.
But how cool that they are adventurous and that they want to do that. I mean, you know,
yeah, they really
warn you ahead of time of what's in the container, right?
Well, my youngest son came running to me, "Mom, the boys found a tarantula." I'm like, "No, they didn't. That's not for real." And then I go there, I'm like, "Boys?" They're like, "Look, Mom." Oh. They're like, "Can we take it home?" No, we cannot.
It would miss its home.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, it would. And I would miss it too. I would miss it. But it was kind of cool because then we found some of these little berries. They're like fruit, I guess, not berries. And so the kids wanted to know what those were. And so we were looking that up and figuring out if they were ripe or what they were or whatever. And then they brought me all these flowers because we were doing like watercoloring. And they were like, "Mom, draw these flowers and these and these." I'm like, "Okay, guys, so I think I can't draw all of them," but it was fun. And they were drawing stuff. They drew the tarantula, of course. Anyway, so it was a fun, just, being out in nature. We've been trying to do that more as school's kind of like we're trying to have our Friday nature day sometimes. Anyways,
Yeah. No, that is so great. And there is one of those kinds of activities that you can do what Lindsay was talking about this morning in her a post that she made about slowing down, being present, being able to enjoy those experiences with your family, because you don't have an agenda and you're not, and especially when you're out in nature, because you're not where all your projects are. So you don't feel things calling you, that, what is it called? The unwritten list or the invisible list, of all the things that you should be doing. I hope you're starting to find ways to revise that voice in your head and to create a list of the things that, oh yeah, the silent to-do list. Man, Lindsay Watkins, you are the best secretary ever. It's like everything I need is right there. I love it. It's true. But anyway, but be able to replace that with, oh no, I'm spending time with my children, or I'm sitting down reading a book, or I'm listening to lovely music. I'm going on a walk and just enjoying nature and being refreshed. I hope we're finding ways to do that more. Give ourselves permission to do those things that really matter, that make us better at what we do, at our jobs. Got Lindsay's holding a baby, speaking of. So fun. Oh, so I have a video that I got that I was thinking I'd share with you because it is just the sweetest thing. I have loved hearing stories from moms about what they're doing, these little things that they're doing with themselves or with their families, and the payoff that they're getting from those. And that is one of the most fulfilling things. Just hearing about how these little things that we do can be so impactful. So my little granddaughter, her name is Emma, and her mom and dad sing to her all the time. Her dad plays the piano, and so she'll sit next to him at the piano and she'll play. And she's just a year and a half, and she plays very softly. And she'll play different notes, and she'll stand up and turn the page and then sit back down, and she'll play some more things. It's just really cute because she knows that's part of it. You turn the page and anyway, but they sing to her. And so they got this little video of her the other day. And so I just thought I would share. Can you even hear that? Anyway, I just thought, obviously it's my granddaughter. I'm going to think it's the sweetest thing ever, but how wonderful that just that little bit of, probably a lot of, but anyway, her parents singing to her, being around music, hearing beautiful music, and knowing that, and having this natural desire to just express herself by singing. I just think that's the sweetest thing. But do you notice that your family is just picking up on the things that you're doing? Can you start to see that as you look and watch them doing what you're doing? Ida, I love that your kids were wanting you to draw these pictures. They know that mom can do this. And so they want to bring their flowers or their things that they find in nature to you so that they can capture that, and I love that you encourage them to do it on their own. But they know that mom can do this, and so they bring it to mom. I think that's sweet. Hi, Amber. Hello, it's good to see you. Amber and Lindsay and Laura, and I hope Melanie and I are gonna work out some way we're gonna get together, because I think we're only a couple hours apart, and so we're gonna find a place to meet and get together. Won't that be fun? I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, cute, Lindsay. My son will say, ugh, I hate music, but he's the one that hums and sings the most. That's so fun. They'll say the things they don't like, but they love it. Okay, mamas, other thoughts? Come on, don't leave me hanging.
I have a small win, I guess, to share from this week.
Good, Melanie, hi.
Just as far as like curating our homes, like we were talking about last week.
Yes.
This week I was shopping with my kids, and a large vase just caught my eye, and it stopped me in my tracks, and I just stared at it, and it just thought it was so beautiful. And after staring at it for a few minutes, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna get it, because I haven't had a beautiful vase like that for ever, I guess. And I had been thinking about putting a large bouquet as on display on like a half wall between two rooms in my house. And so I thought that would just be perfect. And I was surprised at just how happy and excited it made me to just have this like one beautiful thing, you know? And then as I went to the checkout, I saw this thankful sign, and those can be kind of cliche, but this one just caught my eye too. It had beautiful flowers and the colors meshed really nicely. Just thought, oh, I actually really like that one. So I got that too. And on reflection, I realized I haven't spent money on decorating and beautifying my house in years. And just those two little things just made me happy to, like, I don't know, bring more pleasantness to my space. So.
I love that you did that. I love that you responded to that desire to do that. I think there's such joy that comes to us when we create our space, curate our space, right? But we do feel that it makes us happy to do that. And I think it's a wonderful thing to, I'm looking for a quote, a wonderful thing to acknowledge that and then to do that. So I love it. So did you put the vase in your home? Is it where you wanted it to be?
Well, it doesn't have flowers in it yet. I need to go get some.
I didn't ask you if you had flowers in it. I just asked if you had the vase where you wanted it to
I
be.
almost put it there. I got it out, and then I thought, well, maybe my kids will knock it over and damage it. And if it has the tall flowers, maybe it'll be more visible, and they'll think like, oh, I have to pay attention,
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. No, I know.
But it was fun to see how that just kind of lit a small spark in me of like, oh yeah, I can beautify my home the way I want it to.
Yes. Okay, so I love that. And I love that it ties in with what we were talking about last week. And then I found some things that I thought I would share if if there was a moment. And so I'm going to share this with you. And I think, oh, this is so true. Much of what a mother at home does seems to disappear at the blink of an eye, right? We know that. You already know what's coming, right? You know what I'm going to talk about. A mother guides and corrects her children. The next day, she does it again. Countertops get cluttered again. Shelves and baseboards get dusty again. Baseboards? I don't even, I'm sorry. She moves mounds of clothes and towels through a wash, dry, fold cycle, right? I mean, it's just, they come back before it's like, you didn't even wear this. I haven't even seen it. She changes sheets, but the beds look the same when made. You can't tell whether they're dirty or clean when the bed's made. I thought that was kind of funny. For an hour, she prepares a meal. Within 10 minutes, it's consumed. Then she's at the sink washing dishes that have been washed countless times before. How is a mother making a home when so much of what she does disappears? Isn't that a good question?
I've been thinking about this a lot because I feel like I go through cycles in my motherhood journey where I just feel so grateful for all those little things I get to do for others. And I know it's building our home and it's building those feelings of warmth and those memories together. And Mom has my clean socks in my drawer, and that just makes me feel good. I feel so grateful to be able to do those things. And then I know I have like those, the ebb and flow of like, oh my gosh, this is such a burden and it's never done. But right now I'm on that high where I just am so grateful I get to serve my family, and I have a family that I get to do these things for every day. And it gives me purpose in every minute of my day. I have a purpose, and that's just to make my family feel comfortable and happy. And so I think, it feels like we're getting nothing done. but we're getting everything done.
And isn't it so good to have reminders, to have women who are in the up part when we're in the down part, you know, to remind us, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm doing this. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm creating all these other things. Like we're saying here, she's making a feeling and relationships and teaching skills, all of these intangible things, right? I love that. But you know that feeling, right? Where you just start to feel like, oh man, it's all just disappearing. Okay, when my husband left for Maine, this is Lindsay Watkins, 3 weeks before us, there was something, a feeling missing. I ended up hanging curtains, pictures, and just recreating that feeling of home again. When my husband called, my daughter said, we better leave for Maine soon because mom is nesting. She recognized that. That's funny. Yes, we do that. Oh boy, do we do that. Okay, so it continues. Home is not just a series of workstations, which sometimes, you know, I know I've done that, have that kind of a mentality as I've been going through. It is where a couple spends most of their married lives together, or a single mama, where they nurture children, fellowship with guests. How can it be a place where a woman enjoys living, a cozy place where she and those she loves feels at home? It also is a reminder that none of this is invisible to God's eyes, which is nice. Also, her husband knows it's all taking place. Sometimes we wonder, you know, is there somebody else? Could we have another adult to just say, nice, I noticed that. Once in a while, it's okay to remind him without a long song of singing the blues. Anyway, I thought those were funny. Okay, and then continued on. Okay, one morning I walked into the kitchen and took a moment to appreciate how nice our farm table looked, clean and untouched from the night before. It is one of my workstations. I paused. I want to admire its pristine state for a few minutes, I thought. A little patchwork quilt I had sewn made a handsome centerpiece with my antique bread bowl on it. Yes, very nice. A moment later, I removed the centerpiece. Breakfast was underway. And then she talks about this time when her 17-year-old son had a friend who was a frequent guest at their home. She said he always liked to hang around the kitchen near supper time when he was the hungriest, watching her cook. And what he said to her was, very candidly, she said, as young people do, Mrs. A, you have the messiest kitchen I've ever seen. I smiled as I took some piping hot biscuits out of the oven. Later, my son apologized for his friend's statement. And then this was her comment, and I loved it. I didn't take it as rude, I told my son. He was sharing his pleasure that someone was willing to make a mess for him. And I thought that was really sweet. He came from a home where his mom had abandoned the family. And so he didn't have any of these things in his home. And so he loved it. She said, peeling and chopping vegetables for a salad or a hearty homemade soup does make a big mess on a farm table, as does mixing biscuits or muffins from scratch. Even though the meal is gobbled up quickly, home-style cooking isn't really an invisible contribution. When family and friends gather around the table together, take note of the contentment it puts on faces after food disappears, bowls are empty, and conversation still flows. Family and friends are warmly satisfied inside and out. I liked that too. And it's hard when we live in this time period, because for many of you, for many of us, you know, we might not have been around women who were homemakers as we were growing up, because for quite a while that became a very unpopular profession. But at least it was considered a profession, where now it's not even that, right? It's not even considered something real. I think we're bringing that back, but it's hard when you're in that and trying to find value in it. I think that you ladies are finding it, and I love that we are. Are there things that help you, that remind you about this whole the beauty of what we're doing? I read this little paragraph while you're thinking about the Ingalls, and it says, Laura and Mary did the dishes and helped Ma sweep. They watched Carrie so she wouldn't fall in the creek. Like it was just this little side thing. While Ma worked at making curtains and turning the little dugout. So this is just their for that home that was just dug out of the side of a hill. turning the little dugout with its whitewashed walls into a home. That's our job, right? To take what we've got and turn it into a home and find contentment in that. I sent a quote to some of you this week. What was that? I loved that about being happy to. Whoops, it's my little cutie singing again.
I found it.
Ooh, good girl.
Finding a home. True self-care, that one, is not salt baths and chocolate cake. It's making the choice to build a life you don't need to escape from.
I love it. Can you read that again?
True self-care is not salt baths and chocolate cake. It's making the choice to build a life you don't need to escape from.
I think that is kind of just the next step from what we were talking about last week. Building a life that you don't feel the need to escape from. I love that. And that is what? Self-care, yeah. Because for a long time, I've been having this discussion in my head and with others about how the world sees self-care. We got to make time for ourselves, and then we go and, I'm not saying any of those things are wrong, but the things we've talked about it here too, but the things on the list of what you go and do for yourself. And look at the rejuvenation that we're finding just from going out and taking a walk, or I don't know, these different things. Ida.
So I was listening to Follow Him, the podcast, on Come Follow Me. And it's talking about, they were talking about Isaiah. And they were talking about, in one of the chapters, Isaiah talks about, these people, if that fight against God's people, that they will have they won't be successful, right? And it's like he compared it to like putting your ladder against the wall and climbing up the ladder and then realizing you're on the wrong wall. And they applied that, like, how do we do that, or what's an application for today? Like, if you have an addiction or something, all those things like that the natural man wants to pursue, those do not satisfy, right? So it doesn't matter how much alcohol you drink or how much drugs you take or how much whatever the thing is, it's not going to satisfy that craving, because it's not that's not how we feed our souls, right? And maybe I think sometimes a lot of that, the self-care thing, it's like that, right? Like we're pursuing this peace and we're going about it all the wrong way, right? Like that's not going to bring peace and satisfaction. That's going to we're going to feel empty still, Anyways, that made me think about that when you're like that idea of like, well, you just need more self-care. And there is some truth to the idea that you need to take a break and just, I don't think it's necessarily taking a bath or, eating a cake or whatever, but just being still, being still, listening.
Right.
And listening for the right things, like asking for Heavenly Father's guidance, like taking those moments to be still and listen. That helps you to feel renewed, help you feel like, okay, I'm not alone. He's still here.
Right.
You got this, Heavenly Father, because I don't.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. Great. And I love what's written in the comments too. Lindsay Watkins, is it quiet where you are? It looks like it's quiet and calm. Can you share out loud what you wrote? I love that.
No, I just wrote, I love it when people come over. And I do. I love it when people come over and they just sit on the couch and they don't know they do it, but they make this sound, of just, okay, this is a place where I can just be. Yeah. And to me, that says, that says something about me and my home. I'm not reading my comment. I'm just, because there are some homes where you do walk in and you're just like, I am so stressed out in here. I can't stay here. My grandmother was a hoarder. And so we had a very hard time just being in her home for long periods of time because it just was claustrophobic. But you know, when those people come over and they can just feel that it's a place where they can, like Lindsay was saying in that talk, where they can feel the spirit and come and rest from the world. And that to me, just, that's the biggest compliment. And they didn't even say anything or realize what they had done.
Right. But what a difference. And we all kind of related to that. We all know that feeling of going somewhere and feeling that, oh, I'm in a place where I could just relax and feel comfortable, and I can sit here for a bit. And so the idea that you could curate something like that for others is beautiful. And I love Lindsay Bunting's quote. Lindsay, can you share that? Are you at a place where you can? Thanks, Lindsay Watkins. Oh, bye, Ida. I'm so glad you dropped in. Mwah. Yes, it's like we're sitting on the couch together. I love it. Bye, sweetie.
What did I put?
Richard G. Scott, the talk.
Yeah, I remember reading that when he first gave it, and just feeling like that was what I needed to do, was just to make sure that my home was a refuge from the storm and others could come in and sit. And I've gotten that compliment so many times, and our house isn't fancy at all. Like, it's not always super clean. There's nothing expensive in it or anything, but it's comfortable. My son, tell me about it. But it's comfortable. We've always wanted it to be a place where people, can come in and just be comfortable and not worry about, if they're sitting in the wrong place or anything like that, but just come in and sit and stay a while. And yeah, but that Richard G. Scott has always stayed with me. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And you gave the link to it too, which is lovely. So that's nice. It's so nice just to be.
I'm gonna read what Lori just put in there. That is such a sweet thing to be in your patriarchal blessing. She says, people will be blessed to come into my home and go away renewed and refreshed. I can testify that is the case at Lori's home. If I ever just need to feel that again, I go over to her house to be refueled. It's true.
Thank you. That's sweet. I thought I can't read that, so because that's a blessing I'm so grateful for. So grateful for. Anyway, and it's it's by intentionally doing small things. It's not the big things. It's these small things that make a difference. And I love that. I wish Laura could be here this morning because she shared something the other day and it was lovely too. I just don't know if I can go back and find it. Oh yeah. It was just interesting. I'm trying to kind of paraphrase. I want this to be applicable to all. So she was reading something about the inequality between men and women. And she said a few years ago, before Well-Educated Heart, I would have been all over that and said, absolutely. And I love that this pattern of learning, this focus on the heart languages has changes us. Anyway, because she continues and says, but Well-Educated Heart has taught me the importance of the role that we play as women in our homes, in our communities, in our churches, in history, but most importantly for our husbands. And I thought that was really sweet to think about that role that we have of influencing our husbands. And then she talked about feeling like she was missing out by not being able to have these great deep discussions of scriptures and things like that. Or philosophical kinds of discussions. And so then we were talking about, she said, then I returned to the things I've learned through Well-Educated Heart. I'm so thankful for the things I'm learning specifically the role that we play in teaching our children and the power I have felt as I have caught the vision of what we're trying to accomplish. Heavenly Father is very involved in this work we are doing in our homes every day. I really appreciate the new Catch the Vision courses. That has helped me to feel the power in what we are trying to accomplish. And so the world sees that women don't like women. She's talking specifically here about women in a specific in a specific church, not holding positions in the church where they're leading or making decisions. But what they don't see is the influence that we are on all of these things. So she has a book sitting on her shelf called The Wives of the Signers, and now I have a greater desire to read it and see how they felt that they influence what happened in the shaping of our country. So I just thought that was really sweet and interesting insight. And then Ida shared, I think about the quality and caliber of wives many great men have had, and I think they must have been taught and nurtured so they were able to acquire learning and wisdom too, so they could support and influence their husbands and children, like Abigail Adams, for example. How did they become those kind of women? I think Heavenly Father recognizes our desire to learn, and He helps us, and certainly He prepares us for the roles and missions we have. Maybe it just looks a little different, like the example of how the Lord's math doesn't make sense in the story of the widow's mite. So I think that's a really great point that she brought up too, that Ida brought up, that just because we can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. We don't always see or understand the Lord's ways. Anyway, isn't that lovely?
I wanted to share too, going back to about well, I forgot what.
Sorry.
What I wanted to share was that I made these pumpkin muffins, and the minute my kids got home and smelled them, they were so excited. And it just made me feel so good because I've got these muffins that they like to eat, and they're so happy when I make them. And they're so happy when I make homemade bread too, but I don't do that as often. But just the excitement of them being so happy about it, it's just so motivating and comforting, and felt like I'm doing something awesome. Even though it's this little thing. Well, I guess it is a big thing. You can wash all the dishes after and everything, but it makes a mess. But it's a mess of love, I guess.
I love it. I love it. And the thing is, there was a mom that just posted something in the new network that talked about that. It's her older son, like a high school or college son, I don't know. And she made cookies for him for when he came home. And he was just so happy to have that. There is nothing like smelling something yummy in a kitchen. Oh, that is such a lovely feeling. And it's such a pretty picture that paints. Lindsay Watkins.
So my mom worked, she went back to work when I was 4 and worked full time. And my dad worked, so he would go to work really early, and then she'd get us all off to school, and then she would call in sick, and she would just stay home by herself and bake. And we would come home, and we loved it so much because we're like, Mom stayed home. And we knew there was going to be so much good food because there'd be bread and cookies, and it was the best. We loved it when Mom just called in sick. And then when I was in 5th grade, my dad lost his job. And so there was like a month time frame where he didn't have his job. And it was so hard on him. I know it was now as an adult, but man, we loved it when Dad was home because he traveled a lot for his jobs that he had. And we were like, Dad's unemployment month was the best month ever. We loved it because he was home. He would take us to go get candy after school. He would come get us from school instead of making us walk the, quarter mile that we lived. But he was just there. And it's having that parent just be there for you and have that wonderful smell in the kitchen. And I wasn't going to say this, but so the morning of the day my dad died, I don't know if I've shared this, I was talking to him and he was just rambling on about something, and he's like, well, I need to go because there's someone baking a cake. And my dad had just had a hospital visit for an ulcer, and he was just not in a good spot. And he's like, someone's baking a cake. And I'm like, Dad, Mom's at work. I just talked to her. She told me to call you and check on you. He's like, no, I need to go. Someone's baking me a cake and it smells really good. And I need to go see who's baking me a cake. And I'm like, no one's baking you a cake. No one's home. And that was the last conversation I had with him. And I think my grandmother, who was always baking cakes, I think she was the mom going, time to come home. I made you a cake. Come, you know, and that's what he told, you know, he had that smell, that feeling of home. I'm sorry. That's when I hear that, I'm like, Grandma was just luring him home with goods. Big goods.
Oh, that is so beautiful, Lindsay. I'm so glad you shared. That's so sweet. What a better thing to represent calling us home. You know, I love that. That's very tender. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, man. Yeah, it's such a good story. Oh, and through stories, right? We get to share those things with each other. I love that. I will never forget that you had that experience with your father. That is so sweet. Okay, who's up? Lindsay.
Well, I just wanted to say I love that story, and I think that'll always stick with me because now, like, I'll recognize the importance of those little things that I do, and the smells and the baking and just that simple act of love, how powerful that really, really is. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. I know it's tender, but thank you.
I think it will help us to feel permission to do those things that maybe we sometimes dismiss as being extra non-essential. Maybe it'll help us to see that those are the really basic, simple, important things that we need to make time for. And my goodness, we get cookies or cake out of it. So how can that be a bad thing? My favorite stories are those that take place back in the day, you know, when moms were home and kids walked through the door and there was chocolate cake and milk on the table or a big plate of cookies or something, and that was how you welcomed your kids home from school. That was just part of it. I love that. My apron is my favorite article of clothing, by the way. It is. I love it. I put it on and I feel like, okay, now let's get to work. You know, I love it. Yes, I love it. Self-care may not be eating the cake. It may be making the cake to show love for others. Yeah, I love that. Amber.
I think it's so interesting how smells and scents have a way of tying to memories and making us feel things. Like what a beautiful design the Heavenly Father, you know, created this association between those two things. Like this morning we had pumpkin bagels, and my son came in the kitchen and he was so excited, you know, and then it proceeded to lit, like in song, all of the things that he loves about fall and all of the things that come with it in our home and all, you know, and I thought, okay, that's just one of those things, you know, and every time I smell a particular scent of roses, it takes me right back to my grandmother's bathroom and this scent that she used to wear, you know, and we have these memories tied to scent, and what a beautiful gift it is that brings us right back just instantaneously.
Yeah, I love that. Somewhere someone was talking about, Marlene has shared in Mother's Influence, something about sense memories or emotions, or I don't know, something. Anyway, but I wasn't sure what they were talking about or what it meant originally, but that's what I thought about. All of the tastes and smells and feels and all the things that can make up a memory. I love that. And if you're not a baker, go get something and then just stick it in the oven and warm it up a little bit, because it'll bring that smell out. Just turn the oven on really low. But you can bring that smell into your house in other ways, right? Light a candle and then give them the cookies. Yes. Oh, I love all this. Whenever my kids plan a party or gathering, they always start with the food. That's right. Linnell, yes, we love you. We love you. We love you. We're so happy you're here. Marshmallow smells remind me of my grandpa's pantry. That's fun. That's Cadence. And Lindsay Watkins, my grandma would pay us with banana bread. That's super fun. Okay. I see in Bakersfield in the summertime, you don't bake because you don't bring that. Well, yeah, Amber's not shaking her head too. I'm sure Melanie would too. Any of us that are in the valley. I mean, you don't bring heat. You don't need to. It's there. So to have our temperatures have cooled this week is heaven. So I think that you all know what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. All these recipes that I've just been wanting to make, I'm going to start. Yes, Melanie says, yes, I had my kids wait a week to make cookies. Yeah, from 114 degrees to 85. It's a lovely, lovely change. We feel like we need to get out our sweaters and stuff. Yes. Oh my word, Lindsay, that's not fair. Lindsay Watkins, it dropped from 82 to 48 this week. Holy moly. That is a big difference. Okay, friends, now we're going to have to share like a recipe exchange or something. All these things are making me hungry. Okay, ladies, do you want Lindsay to tell you just like a teeny tiny little bit about how our Pinehurst Academy for Young Ladies went on Monday? Yes, we got a thumbs up, Lindsay. I'm taking it. Just one thumbs up was all I needed. Thanks, Lindsay.
I didn't even need that. I'd tell you anyway. Oh, there's a gardener. It's going to make some noise. Am I good? Should I go somewhere quiet? Okay.
Fine.
It went so well, I thought. And I was nervous that baby's going to sleep. It's hard to find a spot around here. I was nervous that the girls, I didn't know how they would take it. But talking to them afterwards, we had a couple of texts from moms saying that their daughters loved it and what a blessing it was for them. But let's see, what did we do? We started out just getting to know each other. We sent them a survey and they had to answer like what their favorite flower was and their favorite nursery rhyme and if they liked poetry, and it was just fun. So we went through and we would read them and then they had to guess whose that was, like what their favorite book was and stuff. So it was really fun. And Lori and I both shared a story. Lori shared a really cute family history story. And what's the grandpa's name again?
Oh yeah, it is Van Ransler Savage.
Van Ransler.
Isn't that a name?
That was pretty cool. And then let's see, then what did we do?
Made the flower pens.
We made the flower pens. And then we went into the library and we told stories of Marco Polo. And we kind of along the way, we're just kind of giving them like little glimpses of like what we were going to be doing throughout the year, talking about music and poetry and nature and art. And
we did a notebook page with Chinese music playing in the background.
Yes. And then we ate Chinese food. We had some kung pao chicken and chow mein and egg rolls. And then one of the girls had brought Chinese donuts. So they did that. I think it went by so fast. It was 3 hours, but it went by really fast. And we were done. Yeah, we meet once a week, 9 to 12 on Mondays.
Yeah, just 3 hours, but yeah, it's 14 to 18, so they're teenagers. So you understand now why we were worried. How are they going to receive this? And they loved it. The text we got from the two moms that we don't have as much contact with and weren't sure about the girls had said, my girls can't stop talking about it. The two different moms, each of them, their daughters just kept telling them all about the things they did and how much fun it was. And I'm so excited about that. So anyway. Yeah. So yeah, it's Pinehurst Academy for Young Ladies. It's at my home and Lindsay and I are doing it. So just to help these young ladies get an opportunity. Oh, hey, stay there.
Here,
an
Cadence, go back to
opportunity
your
to learn
flower.
these things. Okay, show. Cadence is showing us. Oh, Cadence, they're beautiful.
These are the hydrangeas I got, so they'll be big and big,
Yes.
lovely flowers. And then I'm going to put the climbing rose right here.
Oh my
Have it
goodness.
go over there. I'm so excited
Oh,
about it.
pink. It's a pink. Okay. And then will your hydrangeas be pink? Is that what your soil will do? Do you know, Cadence? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Blue.
Oh, they'll be blue. Okay. I
Some of
love
them are
that.
pink right now,
Yeah.
but they'll probably change to blue. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. We
My
have
daughter's excited about your academy, and I wish she could go.
Oh,
She's not old enough, but
as soon as she is, and we'll do 12, but the group we have are 14 to 18, 17. But super exciting.
Well, I don't think you should worry, because if you saw the Facebook posts about Relief Society that Marlene posted, someone else started one about young women's, and how the young women are just craving that information, because they're like, oh, we're playing Nerf guns again this week, or they're not doing anything of substance. And I think the girls were just craving that, because I taught activity days before we came up here, and the days we had game day, they were like, oh, it's fine. But the day we actually learned something and we got our hands dirty, and I mean, we planted flowers and we made bracelets, they ate those things up because they loved learning something and just being involved, not just another game, you know. I'm glad you guys are doing that.
We're excited, and we're encouraging satellite groups to do the same. So if anybody's in a place where they feel like that would be something they could do, or when that time comes, let us know, because we've been encouraged to encourage that. So we've got a group in Utah, actually, that I've just been doing virtually, but it's just too hard. So I need to find somebody who lives around Bountiful that could do that, could take these girls and then mix with us. So I'm thinking Amy. So I reached out to Amy Parker this morning, because she'd be amazing. She would be so much fun for a group of girls. But anyway.
Her backyard would be so much fun too. She has this huge yard and this garden, and
chickens.
Her home is lovely. It's this old home. Yeah. It would just feel right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because she just popped in my head. I thought she's right near those girls, and they need that. They need to get together. And then both groups of girls have said yes to being pen pals with each other. So how fun would that be to get that going, to have them actually writing letters and sending things to each other? And I don't know, when we did the questionnaire, that was one of the big things that we kind of wanted to do, was have it kind of introduce this whole different feeling that we were trying to inspire. What is, like all the things Lindsay said, what's your favorite flower? Do you like poetry? What's your favorite kind of music or musical instrument to listen to? I think you said, Lindsay, you did a beautiful job on that, by the way.
Thanks. I just think, look at us, like this group here, we've been friends now for years, and what is like strength and blessing that is in our lives. I just think these girls are going to start that now and build these friendships for these years leading up to becoming mothers. And they're already going to kind of have that feeling and that support. I just think, gosh, I'm almost jealous, because it's like, I hope that is, I mean, I know it'll be a blessing to them, but I hope I don't know if they'll ever realize what they have.
Yeah, but they'll experience it and they'll know. It's like the hope I have for women here, that these feelings that we all feel here, that you'll think, wow, I wonder if so-and-so and I could get that. I wonder if we started chatting and, I invested a little bit of time and shared some of my heart with her. I wonder if we could get to that point. Anyway. Oh, show. Don't apologize, Cadence. Oh my goodness. Those are lovely. They make it so charming. Look at her little porch. Do you see her little porch brackets up there? Oh, Cadence, no wonder you're getting so much joy out of that. Oh, I love it. We should share. We got to share our wins, right? Because who else is going to pat you on the back? Nobody. And it's just too hard to reach back there. Oh,
Well, and it brings us more joy when we get to share it.
yeah, right. Right. We need to come up to Cadence and just sit and have a cup of tea on her lovely porch. And some pumpkin muffins or something. Did you say pumpkin muffins? I can't remember.
Pumpkin chocolate chip muffins.
Oh, there we go. Even better. I love it. Okay, Amber, can you read what you shared? Just so we can hear more from you. I love it.
Yeah, I was just saying that the girls my daughter went to college with, she's been friends with them for years, and they have developed this relationship where they nurture and support each other, and just a beautiful thing to see amongst teenage girls. They text each other when they know one is having a hard time. They'll go and drop off a little gift for each other, you know, or bring flowers or just something. And so it's been fun to see them be together and know that even though she's thousands of miles away, you know, she still has this support system right there with her, and that they look out for each other. You know, one of the girls came home and had a rough day, and she was like, Mom, I gotta go. Like, Bryn had a hard day and we just need to chat, you know. And she was just kind of teary, and it was just, it's the fruit of what they put into their relationship early on.
Yeah, and what they've seen their mama do. Mm-hmm. What has been, you know, valuable to them. So good job, Mom. I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Amber. Oh, Cadence, this is Outback. Oh,
It's a squirrel.
oh my goodness.
Comes and buries peanuts in my little pots here, but he's so cute.
How fun.
Anyway.
That's so cute. Look at that nature that's just all around you. What happens when you live in the PNW? Is that what they call it? Pacific Northwest. I love it. Okay, my friends. This has been lovely. Anybody want to share their takeaways? A takeaway? Anything from today? Of course, we're all crossing our fingers, right? Is Linnell gonna say something? Does she have a minute? Can she? And if you can't, it's fine. We do our best to come up with takeaways from our time together. Oh, Lindsay Watkins says, thank you all. I love spending time with you. And Kaden says, you filled my heart. Thanks all. Look at that. Look what we can do for each other when we get together. And all we did was make time, take an hour on our Fridays. Not all we did, because I actually think that's a pretty big thing that you do, and I sure appreciate it. So thanks for being here. It's been lovely. And Linnell will just go away taking your face with us, and that'll be good enough for now. Just getting to see you.
I can say hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So I'm in Missouri right now. Look what I've got.
Oh,
I've been working at Crumble for a week.
Really?
Baking cookies. I wish you could all come and have some cookies and smell the cookies. It's been a lot of fun. So I haven't been on all summer, but I sometimes I feel jealous of ladies who get to meet in person, because they have a consistent opportunity, and some of you in Bakersfield can do that. But I feel like I felt like I was missing out when I couldn't come to meetings. And so even though it's kind of crazy, I was actually listening to half of the meeting while I was doing my shift, and I'm on a lunch break now, so I could hop on. But it's nice to come to a place where I feel a part of, I feel belonging. Everything that we're talking about for home, I think we need that for friends as well. And so I don't really have anything to add, just I'm happy to be here with my friends, listen to your updates and what's going on in your lives. And that's all.
How fun. She's baking cookies while we're talking about all this. That's perfect. Thanks, Linnell, for sharing. Yeah. Yep, we've missed you. So, ladies, if you have an opportunity to meet with somebody in person, make sure you nurture that relationship. Lindsay and Laura and I have benefited so much from being able to chat with each other in person and to connect, share I don't, impressions we're getting about ways that we can refine ourselves, or, a really difficult time that we're having, and just having somebody to be able to talk with about it, or the wins, the small little wins that we're experiencing. There's just so much to gain from that time to be together. Oh, Linnell, that's probably a good idea to put where you're going to be different times so people can run into you. Each one of us, if you travel, remember, ladies, let other moms know so we can try to get together. That'd be so much fun. Anyway, it's just been lovely. So for those of you who don't get to meet with us in person, we love having you here. It's so good to be able to just know that you're coming, that you're with us, that you're listening, you're here in spirit. We appreciate that too. And for those of you who came today, thanks for making the time to do that and to be here. It's nice to get together, and we'll do it again next Friday. So thanks. Bye-bye.